Hi everybody, Steve Degnan, advisor board member, former chief HR officer. I have a promotable, fireproof quick take for you today on the value of embracing things you don't like to do. I've been holding back on this one for a while because I know I'll be accused of being some kind of a cranky boomer, but I do think this is an important point, so hang with me. You know, my favorite Rocky movie, I believe, is the last one. It was called Rocky Balboa. There's a viral clip that gets sent around. You may have seen it on social media where he's talking to his Gen Z-ish kind of son about the need for resilience in life. And he starts out by saying, life ain't all sunshine and rainbows. And then he goes on to talk about the need to come back from setbacks. Won't bore you with all of that, but I'll tell you a story about me learning very early on in my career to embrace the suck, as they say in the Army. So I was a supervisor at the Ripon Nescafe plant for Nestle in the Modesto area of California. And this was back before inventory tags and automation really took hold. And a work in process inventory had to be done once a month, and it had to be a snapshot of a moment in time of all the ingredients that were used in production, and it could only be done when the factory was down. So I had to go in. I was a new guy. They always assign this task to the new guy. I had to go in on a Saturday morning, plant was down, and basically count all of the things in and out of production. That was things from ingredients that went into specialized coffee products to finished product that was usually stored in these very big 900-pound bins that went on forever. If you've seen the Raiders of the Lost Ark movie at the end where they're putting the Ark in a box in a big government warehouse that just seems to go on for miles, that's what it seemed like to me at the time, counting hundreds of these very large coffee bins, and I had to get up on a vantage point to count all of them, sometimes walk on top of them. It was dusty, it was dirty, and I hated the crap out of it. I couldn't stand it. And then on Monday mornings, I had to go in and reconcile the inventory with someone in finance and other areas and look for shrinkage and waste and accuracy. And it was done on a legal pad. And I even tried to automate it on a very early version of a spreadsheet. If you're as old as me, you may remember something called Lotus Notes. And I had a little machine with Lotus Notes on it that I wanted to use. And I was told no, because we've never done it that way. We would do it on the legal pads. So I did it that way and until it was handed off to someone else. Now, where am I going with all this? Where did this lead to? Well, decades later, when I was the head of HR, I was able to talk to the head of manufacturing and the CFO and mention that I had done such things. And they were blown away by that. They had no idea that I had that kind of insight into how factories run and where waste comes from. And of course, now all of that's automated, and there are automatic bins that tell you how much stuff you have in them and all that. But back then they didn't. So I had to do some really crappy stuff, but it paid off later, and it always does. And I think people who do physical work understand this better than any of us. And those of us who work in offices, we tend to lose the appreciation for such things. But those things, some call it character building, some call it learning. It leads to insight later in life that can really pay off. So look to those things that you can't stand doing. And there are parts of every job like that. I'll be honest with you, there's probably 60% of being a chief HR officer that I didn't really enjoy. But I always looked towards the horizon and towards the achievements we were trying to get to in both the company and my department, my team. And I tried to keep those as the priorities and realize those crappy things were just a component of it. Okay, think about that. A good thing to keep in mind as you're building your life and your career and your job. See ya.